Bangladesh is a land of rivers, canals, and lakes. Many mighty rivers come from the Himalayan mountains, bringing in huge amounts of water and silt every year. Rivers overflow in the monsoon, flooding half of the country. The water brings in new life to every lake and pond. Floodwater covers the land with a fertile layer of silt. Silt makes farming easier and rewarding. The farmers love it. And the birds love it too. A lot of worms thrive in this silt. Many waders frequent the farmland more than their natural habitat. You can see rarities like the great painted snipe in the paddy field. The muddy water is also a home for creatures bigger than the worms. For them come the bigger birds. Riverbanks are popular destinations for the winter migrants. There's food for them in the water and on the bank. The ducks especially like the emerging islands in the river. Their interests sometimes conflict with those of the farmers. You start AWC in Bangladesh from the riverbanks close to the urban areas, and then gradually you fan out to the countryside. Then you follow the rivers to the Bay of Bengal. Over 100 rivers pour their silt down to the bay, and the bay water is sometimes more brown than blue. Thousands of different life forms thrive here, and of these, the birds are the most visible and the most beautiful. You can watch a wide variety of water birds at the bay. Plovers fly over the waves in great numbers. The bold ones run forwards to meet the waves, and those who don't need an untimely shower run away from it. You can expect a couple of rare visitors at the bay. You can look for an Asian dowitcher here any day. On a good day, you may see a Eurasian oyster catcher. And in a good year, you may even see a spoon-billed sandpiper. Man-made mangroves make a green line at the bay. Herons make the mangroves their roosting place. The ducks love the salty grass down below, and the waders need only the soggy sand. Every river doesn't come down to the bay as it pleases. A few rivers are dammed for flood control. These dams create reservoirs, and wonderful underwater gardens grow in the clear waters of the reservoirs. And resident waterbirds quickly colonize the reservoirs, while the winter visitors follow them without hesitation. There's enough nutrition for a variety of birds here. And vegetation near the surface feeds those who will not dive for food. While for those who love to dive, there's a grand feast of aquatic plants at the bottom. Wintering waterbirds in far larger numbers go to the natural reservoirs in the north of the country called haor. Many threatened species of birds live in the haor as residents or visitors, and one of these lakes, named Dangwa Haor, is a Ramsar site. Dangwa Haor is easy for the birds to access, but not so for the bird watchers. First you rent a boat from a northern town and meander through small rivers to get to the haor. Sometimes you can ride a motorcycle in dry stretches of haor to reach the wetland. And finally, you ride a small canoe through the reeds to see the birds. The reeds are good for the shy creatures and the sneaky ones. Activities start very early in the morning. Waders fly off their roosting places to exercise their wings. And the ducks arrive in flocks to claim their own corners of the Howr. Morning is a good time for watching the sneaky crakes. The ruddy and the balons are two of the beauties of the reedland. Dangwa Howr is a favorite wetland for the ferruginous pochards as well. It's a winter home for 100,000 pochards. You'll have a great day watching birds in the Howr. After the feeding frenzy of the morning, you'll see the ducks dozing off. But there'll always be busybodies to keep your eyes open. You'll be happy to see interspecies cooperation between the gulls and the cormorants. You'll also be intrigued by the intraspecies competition between the belligerent little fellas. You'll see the bold ones out in the open the whole day, and the real shy guys will hope that you pass them by. At the edge of the Howr, the crows will come to watch you. In the Howr, they're easily outnumbered by other interesting birds. In a good Howr, you can look in any direction to see 1,000 ducks, and the numbers can sometimes be overwhelming. You'll wonder how the Howr is able to feed this flock, and for how long will it remain fit to do so. The Howr is a good feeding ground for the Pallas's fish eagle. It is also its largest nesting site in Bangladesh. Sunset doesn't have to bring an end to your birdwatching here. It's after sunset that the herons coming in to roost will raise your census tally by several thousand. Here, every little tree is a heronry. Water is the feeding ground of the herons, not their roosting place. A thrilling week begins when you start AWC at the coast of Bangladesh. A large wooden boat and a slim wooden canoe become your mobile home for 7 days. You hire the boat and the canoe from the fishermen, and the fishing crew takes a break from fishing to happily show you this remote part of the country that is frequented only by them. It's a strange world of mud and water that's best exploited by the fish and the water birds. You pile your groceries, your knapsack, your tent, and your gadgets onto the deck to begin your journey. Your boat sails southward, where the water birds make the remote islands and the mudflats their winter home. You'll feel like the seafarers who once sailed the unknown waters for unknown trophies. It is an adventure. You see the lush green mangroves growing on the older islands. And the newly emerged islands have only grass and reeds. The boat stops every time your GPS indicates a waypoint. You clamber down from the boat to the canoe, and the canoe takes you to the mudflat. And you wish that you and your gear were fully waterproof. The waterfowl are waterproof. They're light enough for their nimble walk on the super soft ground. They have wonderful devices to exploit the opportunities. But it's an effort for you to move around in their world. The sights and sounds are rewards enough for your efforts. The soft mud can't support you unless you're knee-deep in it. The prickly grasses are far from soft but can keep you walking on tiptoe. When the day's waiting is done, you look for your canoe. It's time to return to your boat. Your boat is anchored far away at a mudflat with a gentle slope. While turning, the tide may not be so gentle. Your canoe merrily bobs up and down with the waves, while you stay still in the canoe to save your glasses from an unwanted shower. Finally, the canoe slams you onto the side of the boat. You'll need acrobatic skills to clamber on up. But it feels like coming home. The tea tastes terrific, and the boat is such a cozy place. The bay at sunset is cool, and the canoe rows on to bring back the last birdman. Finally, it's time to erect a makeshift tent on the boat and make your bed on its rocking floor. You're assured of a good night's sleep, even when the night halt is near a fisherman's island. They worked harder than you did at their own pursuits, and sundown is their bedtime. The fishing boats fan out again at sunrise. The tide is turning. Nets show up on the mudflats. And children set up traps for the birds. Herons and egrets are the easy victims. But a snake or two may show up in the mud. You focus on the uninhabited islands beyond the fishermen, and your rewards may be big. A flock of ibis, although black-headed, is almost sacred, as they're rather rare here. At lunch break, your boat drops anchor. The plovers come to lunch with you on the bank. The boat hauls the canoe aboard and turns to your next destination. A tired birdman steals an afternoon nap, and the canoe serves as his wooden hammock. Every island has a treasure to offer. At the west coast of Hatia, you see this flock of strange birds skimming the water. Their wings are long and the wing beats shallow, and when they're grazing on the waves, their wings aren't getting wet. This flock of Indian skimmers is obviously one rare bunch of birds. It's a privilege to see so many of them at one place. And it may even be the largest flock of Indian skimmers on Earth. The day is done when the skimmers return to roost. Excited birdmen keep their binoculars trained on the horizon, and they speculate over the future of the skimmers. At last, the sky turns dark, and the birdmen wade back to the canoe. It's the end of a very rewarding day.